Hey guys, you're listening to the Shift Training Podcast,
where we talk about personal development, we talk about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, and just overall well-being.
And today we'll be talking about sympathy, empathy, and compassion. We'll be defining them,
give examples,
talking about the differences,
and its values.
So let's get into this episode. We're going to start off with sympathy. So sympathy, the easy way to define that is I understand how you're feeling and I see how you're feeling over there, distant.
Right. Yeah, I think sympathy is what creates sometimes that disconnection with others.
Right. When you sound like you're trying to acknowledge how they feel, but you still sound disconnected.
Yeah.
Or you might say something like, that sucks, but you should be grateful, which is
a good example.
Very guilty of that. But it's understanding how they feel, but also making sure it's like, yeah, but you keep that feeling over there, okay, away from me. Don't you bring that over here.
I think an example of that is like, let's say your friend, right? Let's say I failed an exam for college or any exam that I'm taking. And my friend, I told my friend that, I just failed the exam. And your friend be like, you could just pass it the next time around. I think that's a good example of sympathy and trying to like suppress, just like what you said about just be grateful.
Yeah.
Not acknowledging the feelings.
Yeah. Understanding how you feel, but not being there with you in how you feel. So that takes us to empathy. So empathy is more closely defined as being able to mirror or reciprocate or be present with that person when they feel what they feel, feeling what they feel per se, right? That's one of those things where it's like, be careful with empathy. But at the same time, empathy is required for connection.
Yeah, I think that's what builds that deeper connection between that person or whoever you are being empathetic with. And I think empathy is going down to their feelings, what they truly feel, often than not, what they feel is that they feel stuck, they feel that they're in a dark place, or they feel overwhelmed. And you, on the other hand, you're over here, right? You're trying to get down to their level. So trying to really understand, I think that's what builds that deeper connection.
Right. And I think based on what you're saying, it's also, we say, we feel like no one understands us. We don't say, I think no one understands me, and that makes us feel bad. That's not what it is. It's when we feel that no one understands how we feel. When we don't feel empathy from other people, that's when we feel like no one else understands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And for empathy, I believe most people, they think they need to solve the problem that they have, but empathy actually sometimes you just have to listen. Even if you don't really understand the feeling that person is feeling, you could just be like, this must be difficult, but I'm glad that you told me this. You trusted me with your vulnerability.
Yeah. Try to be vulnerable with them. Try to be open in it. That's a great point you make. I'm very guilty of that one too. That's more of the sympathy part where we try to remedy it without being present with them in it first. And again, empathy is connection. Sympathy is, I hear how you feel. That feels bad over there. Empathy is, do you need a hug?
Yeah.
Do you need some quiet time?
Yeah.
How can I be in this with you? But at the same time, that's almost getting to compassion. So let's talk about compassion.
Let's talk about it.
Compassion is empathy plus action, basically. It is, I understand how you feel. I feel it with you. What can I do to help you?
Yeah, I think compassion all comes down to like having clear boundaries to yourself and boundaries to others.
Right.
And I've heard from many people that who is very compassionate is that they set up a clear boundaries.
Yes. So let's talk about that, the clear boundaries part. Sometimes we say, I'm, too nice or very compassionate, where you give. That's not really compassion. That's almost like passive control. Okay. It's almost like passive control. The boundaries element is I don't want to leave you out in the cold because I know how that feels and I feel it there with you. And I'd rather, would you like to feel warm? Well, come over here to this warmth I got if you want. Well, you want me to just bring you a jacket while you stay in the cold? Okay, I'll bring you a jacket while you stay in the cold. What I will not do is I will not freeze my tail off with you in the cold just so you feel like you have some company. That's not good for either person. And that's one of those things where it's like you have to be mindful of it. This is why, for me, I have a little bit of beef with what I call pity parties. And this is why it's like pity parties aren't really compassion.
Right.
And I'm not even sure it's really empathy. Maybe if you want to mirror reflect negative feelings and you guys kind of stew in that, but I still think that that's empathy that doesn't really serve in that way, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really progress you to become better. Like I don't think I've ever seen people that are successful who just wants to pity and tell you their problems without doing anything.
Yeah, I've never seen pity parties lead to healing.
True.
Like, not in a substantial way. I've never seen it. So let's talk about some of those differences. I think we kind of highlighted that in our loose definitions. If you want actual definitions, you can use Google. But sympathy is, I see how you're feeling, distant over there. Empathy is, I understand how you're feeling. I'm here with you. I'm feeling it with you. And even if you don't have if you can't relate to that exact experience, ask questions, try your best to just be there with them. It's connection.
Right.
And then, so sympathy, far away. Empathy, close, connection.
Deeper connection.
That's right. And then compassion is, what can we do about it? I see what's going on. What would you like to do? Not let me do this so things are better. So I don't have to deal with your tough feelings.
Yeah.
What can I do to help?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you like me to do to help you in this situation?
100%.
Yeah. So Vaughn, do you have any other examples or differences that you'd like to talk about? Any of those?
I think empathy and compassion is a skill set that we all need to cultivate. It's not something that it's born in or innate for us. I think it's something that we need to develop and something that is measurable. We can learn from it and it's teachable. 100%.
Completely teachable, learnable, an asset. And let's talk about the value.
Ooh.
Sympathy is, we may have just painted it in a negative light. So I think of it like this. Sympathy is, I acknowledge how you're feeling. Sounds like it sucks for you. And we know how that kind of sounds. Kind of sounds bad, like you don't care.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sympathy in itself is almost like a way of upholding a boundary. I don't want to experience the emotions you're experiencing right now. I acknowledge it.
That's interesting.
But from afar, because I don't want to be that close to how you feel right now. So sympathy in itself is, it's like an acknowledgement of without taking on. And in that facet, it has value, has utility as a tool.
Right. Well, that's interesting because I always thought of sympathy as something negative. I didn't think of it that way, how it's, you can see it, but you're just not really acknowledging it. So it's a kind of a boundary.
Yeah. And it's like when we do that, it's really protection, or we're trying to protect ourselves, our ego, or whatever it is. Like we're trying to avoid that thing. So it's kind of a boundary in a way.
I see. Interesting. Okay.
And then value of empathy is connection, right?
Connection, deeper understanding with other people.
Yeah. And without empathy, you can't really broaden your emotional granularity, which we've been talking a lot about. You can't really explore emotionally without empathy. Like, you have to be willing to connect with yourself and others and be vulnerable and be open to expand and develop emotionally. There's without it, I don't really know how you're going to do it. Your interaction with other people is going to be pretty trash.
That's right.
Honest, just being, it's going to be pretty trash.
100%.
And then compassion. What's the value of
The
compassion?
value of compassion is, I would say, it is important because it's how you're going to have a deeper understanding of yourself. And if you have a deeper understanding and have clarity, you know your boundaries, what we talked about earlier, then it's easier to put that boundaries to other people.
Right. And I think the value of that is being able to contribute in a way that doesn't harm you. I think that's the real value. If you really get good at compassion, you get good at contributing to the well-being or health of others without compromising your own. And I think that's why compassion is so essential and necessary in life for all of humans. For those who don't know, Shift's big goal is to positively impact the quality of human interaction.
Yeah.
And compassion is required for you to have positive human interaction,
Mm-hmm.
because at that point you can give without added sorrow, as the Bible says, right? But you can't do it without compassion, because you'll just end up harming yourself. Then you become resentful, become bitter, etc. So compassion's value is that we can contribute while maintaining our boundaries, and everyone needs a hand here and there, right? So I think that's it for today for sympathy, empathy, and compassion. Vaughn?
It's pretty simple. Yeah. I just remember sympathy is a distance. Empathy builds that deeper connection, and compassion is
basically giving without giving your soul away.
Exactly.
So, guys, please, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with somebody. Like, subscribe, follow, rate, review, all the things, at Shift, on your life, etc. On anything else for today?
That's it for us.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and we appreciate you.
Peace.
Peace.